just wanted to say thank you everyone that's tuned in right now. Apologies if I've startled you in any way, but we're just running a bit behind schedule. Just still waiting for a couple more people to turn up. So, yeah. Hopefully everyone is enjoying. Waiting in the lobby. Uh, yeah. Hopefully we'll start in just a couple of minutes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much ever for tuning in on this episode of the Verdict Talk. I go by the name of Dr. Hines. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. We are about to begin to discuss the Karen Reed verdict. Well, sort of a verdict. Well, it's a mistrial, so not really a verdict, to be honest. But joining me today is you guys would be familiar with her. She's been on the channel previously. Goes by name of Alyssa. Thank you ever so much, Alyssa, for joining me today. And also True Crime Karen, who is new to my channel. So I love this moment. I love this moment because she not only it's called Karen and shares the same but she shares the same name with Karen Yak that appeared last week, last time that we were here. But anyway, enough about that. Karen, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. We'll start with you. Introduce yourself to yourself. How are you?
Hi guys. How are you? I'm happy to be here. I'm great. I have a TikTok channel. I actually just started a YouTube. If anybody wants to join that, it's True Crime and Some Wine. But mostly I post on TikTok and on X. I'm on X a lot, fighting with a lot of people. So, I definitely have my haters on there. But basically I used to, way back in the beginning, I believed that Karen may have been set up. And then the more that I looked into it, I realized that she wasn't. So once I started posting about that on my TikTok channel, I started getting, I don't know if you guys know what the cult of Turtle Boy does to people, but they started doxing me. They started going after my business. They were sending my husband messages, calling me names. So eventually I had to turn my comments off on TikTok. I had to put them on approval because everybody was just ripping me apart for questioning the conspiracy theory. So I was like, wow, this has never happened to me before. And I've gone over many of cases, but I got a lot of hate for just basically following the evidence and changing my mind. So once I realized, then I kind of realized, oh my God, everything that Turtle Boy tells everybody is basically a lie, So then I started realizing, like, oh my God, there's a cult of people that will absolutely believe anything that this man says. So that's been the biggest problem since coming out about the fact that I knew she was guilty.
Oh, by the way, guys, if you guys have experienced any echo whatsoever, I do apologize. That is on my end. But I appreciate that introduction, by the way, Karen, because just to let you know, she was a lot more active on TikTok. I believe you have like 50K likes or something like that. Or is that the right figure?
Me?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. You.
Yeah,
Karen, yeah.
I have about maybe 60,000 followers on there. It's nothing crazy, but
nothing crazy. I love your humility, Karen.
Well, thank you.
I can't say the same for the other Karens that were here. So,
so yeah, and it's like, I guess that bothered. You know what I think it is that they don't want any other voices louder than theirs, is the way that I could say it. They don't want anybody saying, that has some kind of a following to go against what they're trying to keep out there as the narrative.
So, okay. So I take it then that you definitely 100% believe that Karen is guilty.
Oh yeah.
And of course you have been sharing your thoughts about this as you've just said. So in that case, let's start with you then. What are your thoughts in regards to this mistrial then? Do you think that the prosecution did a good job if it's, resulted in a mistrial? Do you blame the jury? Like, what's what's your feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I think there's a lot of reasons that it could have happened. So now, just the amount of like hate and harassment that I got, I know that these jurors, they know that if their names get out there, it's going to be way, way worse, So I think it's a mix of a few things. I think there are people that feel threatened and don't want to tell the truth. I think they probably did get a few turtle riders on there that just wouldn't let up because they know if they do, what's coming, And I also think that Lally did a very good job, especially on the cross-examination. And if this like rumor is true about the 8-3 or the 9-3, have you guys heard about that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What rumor is that, by the way?
So the defense put out, I guess they're trying to make a claim that the jurors voted 12-0 for murder and that it was 9-3 for manslaughter.
Mhm.
So I haven't seen proof of that yet, but that's what the defense is saying, and they're known to lie. But if that's true, that means that 9 of the jurors did not buy the conspiracy theory. They know that her car hit him. So, it's really not as bad as, it's actually kind of promising for the Commonwealth next time, because they can only get better. The defense now has to choose do we keep going with this conspiracy theory that we know 9 of the jurors did not believe, or do we change it up now? Like, what do we blame Proctor for everything, now that Proctor's in trouble? So I think, as annoying as it is for everybody involved, and especially for the family to have to sit through this again, I think it could only go better next time. I think it's probably, again, a mix of the jurors worrying about what's going to happen after. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think that Lally did that bad of a job. And I actually think the defense was kind of laughable at times. The Nevercracker defense theory. Come on. Like, oh, he ran through my yard. So my kid ran through his yard and we're friends. So now I'm going to kill him. Like, that's the theory that you have for why they would want to kill this man that everybody loved. They need a stronger something if they want to get there,
I mean, I personally do think that Karen Reed is not guilty of the crime that she was charged against. So I will push back a little. Well, that's good then. But I was gonna push back a bit on what you just said in regards to the Nevercracker. I mean, if you're going, like, if that's what you think in regards to the prosecution, in regards to the defense, then the prosecution, in my opinion, is not better, because they were trying to base their case on just problems that they're having within the relationship, and how Karen reacted to John not even being interested in him anymore. That's right. In my opinion, that's not really the best of defense. So I want to find out from you, all through the trial and all through what we witnessed, what really stuck out to you then as the evidence that should put Karen away?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the fact that her taillight was found on his clothing was pretty major. I think it would be very, very coincidental that she hit something else that night hard enough to break her taillight on the same night that his friends were going to beat the crap out of him and throw him outside and pin it on her. So the taillight, definitely. Things that came out that were really stuck out to me at the trial were her calling Kerry and saying that John is dead and hit by a plow before she left to even go look for him. That's pretty major to me. And the defense didn't even cross-examine her. So it's like they accepted her what am I saying? Her testimony. So her saying that, and then also I think a few things that people missed during the trial was that Karen called Jen and Kerry before she left, and she was already saying to them, my taillight is broken. Now, this is before she backed out and hit John's car, leaving to go to their house. So she's telling them that it's broken. So that means it was either broken the night before or sometime before the time she called Kerry and Jen. And then when Officer Buchanan took the stand, he said the same thing. He said to Karen that next day, what happened to your taillight? And she said, I broke it last night. So she doesn't know how, but she broke it last night, she told them. So in all of those situations, that taillight is broken before she gently taps John's car. So that's pretty important to me, because what else did she break it on?
Okay, that's...
two more things. And the fact that she called her parents at 1 a.m. and again at 4 a.m. And now you're 40-something years old. I mean, and I'm in the same boat. I'm not calling my parents at that time unless I need help, or something happened. That's not if I think my boyfriend's cheating on me. I'm not gonna be like, hey, mom, so those are pretty strange to me. I'd love to hear those conversations that she had with the parents.
Right. And we will circle back to you in quite a bit. I want to go to Alyssa. What do you make of everything what do you make of everything that Karen has basically just said? And also, I know that we took a bit of time to get here, but just for one more time for the new, if there are some new audiences here, introduce yourself. Once more? What do you, what what your interests are and what you do?
Okay, yeah. So I'm Alyssa. I know we've been here a couple times, but so I'm a nurse. So that was the thing that got me into this case. The first time I saw the injuries, and so I actually originally my whole background's been in psych. I have kind of shifted a little bit to corrections. So dog bites are very, very common for us to treat. And before that, I also have done a lot, like kind of rotating around in like the emergency room. So I've had a lot of experience seeing people who've been hit by cars, who've had dog bites as well, especially like when they're apprehended by the canines. We used to see it all the freaking time. So when I first saw those injuries, I was like, there's not a chance that was a car that did that. Especially the main thing that we always would see with especially like a low impact car pedestrian accident was pelvis fracture, something lower extremity. The fact that he had none of those, there was not a chance. It was going to take a lot of evidence to convince me otherwise. And I personally did not find anything that was presented by the Commonwealth compelling enough to get me past that. I came to my conclusion based on my assessment of the evidence. So, I don't think it had anything to do with Turtle Boy or anyone else really. I don't know.
Right, and also I wanna go back to your thoughts on the verdict then, because you do believe that Karen is innocent of this. Well, not really, but I keep calling it a verdict. It's not a verdict.
The non-verdict, basically.
Yeah. So that mistrial, like, what do you make of it then? Like, do you like me personally? Like, I thought the case was conclusive, so I'm was kind of surprised by that verdict. So I want to know how you were feeling about it.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I mean, I honestly, after it got past like the first day of deliberations, I was, kind of doubting it. And then, when they first came back saying that they were pretty hung and they weren't going to be able to come to a verdict, I was shocked. I do think that, well, and the main thing with the defense coming forward now saying that they've had multiple jurors who've approached them saying that they were unanimous, that murder 2 was off the table, leaving the scene was off the table. I mean, and they have it in the court filing. These are very, well-known attorneys. They have their entire career on the line. If they were to just lie about something like that to the court in a court document. So
Yeah.
I find that very interesting. And at the very least, I think it's worth trying to do some fact finding and see if that is the case. If some of the jurors come forward and say, no, it's not, and we weren't totally having those 2 off the table, then so be it. The more we know, the better, I feel.
And the same way that I asked Karen earlier in regards to what piece of evidence convinced her about Karen's guilt, like, as what convinced you that she just wasn't guilty at all?
So like I said before, the injuries, without a doubt, that was the main thing that kind of just had me convinced. And that a lot of let me see, really the timeline didn't really add up for me either. I don't know. I just, it really is more that like, I really couldn't see an explanation otherwise for how it happened.
It is.
That just doesn't track in like my common sense experience, professional experience. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it is something that is, to me, is kind of funny in a way, because it is one of those cases where there were so many things that, well, at least in my opinion, there were so many things going for that may have looked persuasive to, get a not guilty verdict, such as, for example, like the theory that you can get hit from the neck down, but there's no injuries from the neck
But
down. Sorry,
nothing.
that you
No.
can, like for me, that was it. That was done. That was when I was like, yeah, no, she didn't do this. Like, she may have. You need to. I'll be very honest. When I heard that theory, my head was, I was immediately thinking, you need to come up with a different, like, because if you're looking at this in the lab, right? You're looking at the medical examiners, you're looking at all of that, and you're seeing what they're opining on the case. You're seeing, like, common sense will tell you there should be some injury to the torso, some injury to the back, like anything else, but it was just the head. So at least
Yeah.
try, and it may not be a winning strategy, but try and
Well, that's the thing too, is
reconfigure.
like if the two things that could have made a difference for me was if the medical examiner had come out and said, this is how it happened, and if their crash reconstructionist was able to really firmly put something in place that made sense. But they had the guy up here, Trooper Paul, saying, physics and stuff. I truly have no idea what his actual findings were, what his theory is of how this even happened. I think, and that was conflicting with what Lally had been saying earlier on. Like, it just didn't track at all. And then you had the actual medical examiner who did the autopsy say these are not typical of a pedestrian versus a vehicle, and that it would be possible that it could be something else.
But
The
you
fact
know, I
that
think
it
with
was also
that,
determined.
I'm sorry to interrupt, guys. I think
No,
with
No,
no.
that,
you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Jump.
even the experts that everybody's putting so much, weight on, one of them said he could have been hit, she could have hit him with the car and he fell over and hit his head. I don't think anybody thinks that the head injury came directly from the car. It's that he got pushed by the car and fell back and hit his head.
Right.
They didn't have,
Right.
and those two guys did not have the information that there was DNA on the car, that their taillight was on him. They were purposely not given that information so that they were looking at it without knowing half of the info, and then they're coming on there like experts. But like, to me, that's like going to the doctor and giving them half of your symptoms and not telling them, the major symptoms. So to me, I felt like the defense kind of made them look less credible by not having all of the information and coming up with these very solid like decisions, like, oh, he couldn't have been hit by a car, when really there's proof that he was hit by a car. So I think that was a little shady. I know you guys don't agree. I'm just giving my point.
No, no,
Um,
no.
yeah,
No.
it's fine. And then the other thing was, none of them said without a doubt that he wasn't hit by a car. They said it's not consistent. The injuries are inconsistent. And I agree that the injuries are inconsistent. But when you have a scene where there's no eyewitnesses, there's no video, everybody's just kind of giving their best opinion of what they think could have happened based on what they're seeing. So just because we don't know how, if there's proof that connects the car to Karen, then yeah, it's kind of like a freak accident, like what went down after she hit him with the car. I don't know. Did he bumble around a little bit and then finally stop moving? Did he drag his arm across the glass that was broken? There's a lot of things that could have happened that no one's ever really going to know. So that's my feeling with the injuries.
Well, I will have to push back a little bit in regards to the reconstructionist not knowing. I mean, let's be very frank here. The FBI reconstructionist, they were, memory serving correctly, they were given the information that they were given, but the room was there for the prosecution to actually give their input and say, look, this is also the evidence here. Like, they were not kept away from the prosecution, is what I'm trying to say. So could it have been a strategy that the prosecution was going to use against them? Maybe. But but in my opinion,
but they even said that, like, the like on cross, they said that the fact that there was DNA and this and that didn't change the math, didn't change it,
right.
really. Like,
They're also defense witnesses,
so
though.
really,
So, go ahead.
But they could have been anyone's witnesses. They were available to both
I
sides.
was, I was,
Yeah,
I was
I don't
about
know
to.
about that. I think
No, that's actually true. Like, because they were sent in by the DOJ, wasn't it? So
Mhm.
they don't have a side. So if the defense, if the prosecution wanted to call them for anything, they could have called them. And I'm not even looking at the
well, maybe
prosecution. I'm not. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not looking at the prosecution as being conniving or hiding something. I just don't
no, I'm
think the
looking at the
defense.
defense as doing that. I think the defense
No,
was
no,
purposely not telling them.
but even if that's, let's just say that's even the case, the defense can do that because the burden is on the like. Let's say that this was the prosecution, witness, and they were the ones conducting this investigation. They are beholden to make sure that they are passing over all the information over all of that. But if it was on the defense, they're not. So
Right, but it made them look. It made them look not as knowledgeable about the situation to me. It made them look like, oh crap, we didn't know that. Like they both looked like they got caught off guard, and I felt like that was the defense's responsibility. If you want to say that these guys are the end all be all that know everything, then give them all the information, and then
they weren't able to
do
it. They weren't able to do that before. They weren't able to talk to them before. The first time they were able to really discuss it with them was in the voir dire before they were able to testify.
So then how did they have that information from the defense and none of it from the Commonwealth if they never spoke to them?
Got it from the FBI.
Right, and that's my point. So the FBI also had no information from the Commonwealth. So when everyone's like, oh, there's this big federal investigation, not one piece of their information came from the Commonwealth. They never even sought out the Commonwealth to find out anything that they had. And if you're the
Feds, no, the DOJ would have had to. No,
they didn't. Go read it. I'm telling you, they have zero of the info from the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth gave them nothing. So that's a problem to me, and and in their findings, the other thing that I think people don't realize, the feds already looked into all of these people. They looked into Proctor. They looked into Jen McCabe. They had Jen McCabe's entire phone. So the only thing they found no areas where they were conspiring to, cover up a murder. None of that. The only thing they found were those nasty texts from Proctor about Karen. So that's why they're making such a huge deal about it. Now, if they found a text from him to Jen McCabe saying, all right, let's call these people and make sure they're in on it with us. Let's make sure that everybody at Canton PD knows what to say. Let's make sure the medical examiner knows what to say. None of that was found on anybody's phone. So how would all these people know at this point to pin it on Karen the next day? They would have to talk, there would have to be some communication.
I will push back again because it's kind of what you're saying is actually very valid, right? Like
I know.
What you're saying is very valid. But the issue is you don't have an incentive to use a phone if you all were at the same location when the whole thing happened. There is no incentive. Yeah,
but you wasn't there. Guess Proctor wasn't there. None of the medical staff was there. First responders weren't there. So you're having to think then as a juror that every single person that got up in that stand from the Commonwealth side is in on it, lying, and somehow had some kind of coordination with everybody to know that, oh, we're pinning it on Karen. And these responders.
Why would you, one second, I just want to ask this. Why would you require everyone to be in on it from the prosecution?
Because then you'd have to know that you would have to somehow get it across to those first responders that got on the stand and said the things that Karen said, which were, I hit him. This is my fault. Did I hit him? What, is he dead? Somebody needs to take care of these kids. They would all need to know, well, okay, Karen's the one that did it. And who's going to tell them that, right? So how would they show up at the scene and think anything to say any of those things unless somebody alerted them, like, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. But the problem is Karen was at the scene actually saying, I did this, I hit him, this is my fault. Unless you want to say that everybody at the scene that heard her say that is lying, then she said that. So, I mean, it's hard to ignore.
There were also a lot of people at the scene who didn't hear her say that.
Right, there are. So that's kind of even more telling to me that there's only a few that heard. So those are the people that were probably near her, working on his body or whatever the case may be. I think if they were trying to do a cover up, they would all say that they heard her. They would all say she was wasted the night before. They would all say that she hated John. None of the people from the Commonwealth really said anything negative about Karen. If you think about it, even Paul O'Keefe, the sister, for her to say to the sister that, I'm sorry, not the sister, Paul O'Keefe's wife, when Karen said to her the next day, "You're never going to see me again," what would be the reason to say that? What would be the reason that you disappear and you desert those kids? Those kids, apparently, that she claims that she loved, she went to that house, got her stuff, and ran out of there in a snowstorm and didn't want people looking at her car. So why would you be willing to drive so far in a snowstorm and have her brother standing out near the car the whole time? There's a video of him watching the car. Why would you leave those kids when they just found out that their third parent died? I think that's so telling to me. As a mom, I would never do that.
Well, so for one, they weren't her kids. And
I know they weren't.
She was just sectioned. She had been suicidal. So yeah, personally, that could be more what she was thinking. And you're not going to see me again. Like, she was just sectioned.
I don't think
that was how they got her blood in the first place.
Her dad asked for that. Yeah.
Okay. Because she was saying that she was suicidal.
Right.
So that could be very well, to me, what that may have meant. And they had, who was it? Carrie had said that it was during that phone call with the O'Keefes where she, Peggy O'Keefe was blaming her for just leaving him at the party. So I'm sure she wasn't feeling very welcome. I would want to be with my parents, with my family who I was close with.
I would never
in a
leave
moment like that.
So she's been with those kids for 2 years. They already lost 2 parents. I would think if she had any kind of feeling for those kids, she would put aside her feelings and try to comfort them. Now, she stood there while Paul told the nephew, and she did not have one tear in her eye. And also, if you've noticed, not one time did she cry during this trial. She laughed, she rolled her eyes, she smirked, she kept looking over at Paul like, hey, got ya. Now, these are people that she used to be friends with. None of them said anything negative about her. And she's glaring at them like they did something. So it's just so messed up. I'm going to grab a glass of water, though. I'll be right back, guys.
No, you're fine. I will push back. I will push back a little bit in regards to what you say.
Okay, hold on one sec.
That's fine. I thought she could still hear. So while she is away doing that, guys, I just noticed the like counter, and it's Jesus Christ, it's below the number of viewers here. So guys, make sure that you hit that like button. It will really, really help us out and get this stream out there. Make sure that you also hit the subscribe button if you like what you're seeing here. And also, most importantly, I do have something to say, because we are ever so close on this channel to getting monetized. Legit, we are very, very close. I'm gonna share the stats here. 1 second. Let me just do that right now. Because, and the reason why I'm putting this out there, let me just go. Yeah. So these are the stats. These are the stats. So I am very happy because we're halfway through the subscribers and halfway through the watch hours that's needed. So guys, I need your help. I wouldn't ask for this. I would not ask for this. But if you guys can, just get your grandma to subscribe and and also get her to put this stream or any stream on repeat. And when I say on repeat, I mean play it. She doesn't have to listen to it. She doesn't get me those watch hours. I hope I don't get demonetized for this. just want to share. I hope they're not. I hope I don't get demonetized for that. But yeah, do help us out. Well, not demonetized. I mean, stricken. Anyway, you know what I mean. But yeah, do help us out. Do like the show. Do subscribe and do all those YouTube things. It'd be amazing to get this channel over the line. But to go back to you, Karen.
Yeah.
In regards to what you were saying, because it was very interesting that you brought it out. In regards to her mannerisms and also how she was reacting with the kids. But I think the context that you are actually, omitting that is very important is they were really about to break up. I don't look at her. I mean, in fact, I I will I will even go out on a limb and be like, she could be a type of person that just doesn't handle death well, or she just is someone that holds a grudge because of whatever she went through with John. So she just has no emotion in regards to the whole thing because she's just drained by it all. I have no idea. But
Mm.
but that's not really enough to say that, she just doesn't have anything, because end of the day we know that she was with the kids. The call
Yeah.
that you mentioned at 1 o'clock, she was with the kids, and it would make sense to call their parents and ask her, look, what do I, well, yeah, like to call her parents at 1 to be like, look, what do I
That's
do?
it.
Like, look, what do I do? I tried calling my boyfriend all this time. He's not picking up. I want to
Yeah,
go
but then
home. I
she can
don't
just
want
stay
to
with the
wait.
kids.
Huh?
She's an adult, it's not like she needed a babysitter. What's her
No,
parents gonna
but she
say?
was literally the only person there. She actually was the only person
I know, but why
available.
couldn't she just stay with the kids then? She's done that before.
Yeah, but have you ever? Okay, let me flip it
You
like
know what
this.
I mean? It's not like she has to leave.
No, I don't want you to take my pushback as it's a way to that I don't hear your argument or is not valid. What I'm trying to basically say is, try and put yourself in that scenario that was that they were in. Like, would you really want to babysit when you know that the relationship is over and these kids are not yours?
Well, you've been with them for 2 years. I mean, it's not like a
But they're still
crazy
not
situation.
yours.
They're
Believe me,
not
I
yours.
was I, I was a single dad, so I
So
really
would
I
you leave? Let's say this is how I think it. Let's imagine
right.
I don't even know these kids, right? Forget
Yeah, yeah.
forget about 2 years. If I'm stuck with two kids that I don't know and their father isn't coming home, I don't need anybody's advice for what I'm going to do. I have to watch these kids. They could be strangers to me. You're not going to leave kids in the middle of the night, no matter what. You could
But
be
she
pissed
didn't.
off.
She didn't leave in
Well,
the middle of the night.
well, then what would
Like,
be
she
the
could have
reason
been
to call
calling
her
her mom
mom
and venting. Like, she just
at
it
one
could be
o'clock in the
venting.
morning? They're older.
Maybe
No,
The
she
older
was still there.
parents.
Yeah, she
So
was
then
still
why'd
there
she
though.
call them again at 4 then?
Because that's when she woke up and he wasn't there.
So what would she be asking though? Like, what does she need their help
He's
for?
not
Nothing. I
home,
mean,
mom. He's
just be
not
her
home, mom
relationship
and
with her
dad. I don't know.
mom.
I
I
can
don't
see if
want
it's
her to have
daytime, you're
time.
gonna wake them up in the middle of the night to be like, I'm here with these kids.
Well, if you call them, you gotta look at the objective facts. If you call them at 1 o'clock, you're naturally, and let's say you talking about the kids, you're naturally gonna, sorry, not even talk about the kids, talking about John O'Keefe and whatever. I actually think what she was likely talking about with the parents is John, and what his him disappearing now, and their relationship being on the rocks, just based on the messages that they were going through, that just based on the messages that they were communicating. It doesn't give me any other
Well, if you're covering
idea,
up,
in my
if you're
opinion. I
covering
don't
up
know.
the fact that you hit somebody, you need your parents' help. That's why you're calling your parents. I mean, other than somebody dying, I don't know why.
Wouldn't you call them up at 12:45? Why 1 o'clock? Why
Yeah.
wait till 1, and why wait till 4 o'clock to do it again?
Well, she hit him at 12:32. So she called. Then she starts calling him saying, "I don't know where you are." Right? You were just with him. What do you mean you don't know where he is? I don't know where the fuck you are. I'm here with your fucking kids. And then, which is also very telling of her feelings for the kids. But so she hits him. She goes home. She's wasted. She doesn't know where. She's saying she doesn't know where he is. That's how drunk she is. That she doesn't remember what just happened 20 minutes before. I mean, that's crazy to me. And what do you guys think her car hit going 24 miles per hour?
I don't think
What,
it
in
hit
reverse?
anything.
Yeah.
Have you
I
tried to
didn't
go
even.
24 miles in reverse?
Guys, the guy told you that it was a registered event on her car. There was 2 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So there was a
But
3-point
where
turn.
does it? What comes from? Like, what is registering the speed? Because with the Lexus, it's the tires rotating. It was.
Yeah.
They spent how long talking about the snow?
Yes, so I don't get that.
So your
Yeah, because
tires will spin in the
ice.
snow faster than you move.
No, but this was a recorded event that went 24 with 75% acceleration on the pedal. And then
Right.
once it hit
Like
something,
when you're
it
trying
went
to get
down.
out of snow.
it went down after she hit something. So it was at 75 the whole time. She goes back 62 feet. That's a part of it too, guys. She goes back 62 feet. So she's not spinning her tires if she's going back 62 feet.
I'll be very, very honest. When it comes to the whole car speed thing, the defense has already shown me in regards to the mirrored video and their reliability on there. I don't take. I wouldn't put it past them if they just took this speedometer off another car and said it was Karen. No, obviously I'm joking. Obviously it's humor, but that's how much credibility has been lost by the prosecution.
So all right, then I didn't realize you guys were this far into the conspiracy, but why do you guys think they pinned it on Karen?
No. By the way, that was a joke. I actually don't think that they did that. That's a bit wild.
You do think they're covering that, they're pinning it on Karen, right?
I don't think Proctor is, and I don't think I don't think Proctor is, and I will explain that in a bit. But I do think Jen and Brian Higgins has a lot to do with setting up whatever building blocks you need to set up to make sure that everything else is in motion. I do think that those two, in my opinion, are the central players.
So you didn't follow it back when the theory was that Colin and Brian Albert beat him up? You didn't follow it back then?
No, like I literally started following this case. I literally started following this case in day 2, so I'm not really aware of any theories. Yeah, like I'm really not aware of any theories. So you're kind of enlightening me on a lot of the things of what people are saying. But I personally think, based on everything I've seen, if it came out that Jen McCabe and Brian Higgins were the only people doing this, or even just Jen McCabe by herself, and she just knew what to say to everyone and this and that because of her experience and knowing, all of these things, I would believe that, because in my opinion, those two were very, very close to it for some reason that just doesn't make sense to me. And a lot of this assumption by myself is based on the Apple Health data by Jen McCabe. So that's...
Yeah, do you know that Jen McCabe's heart rate was at its lowest when she was supposedly Googling how long to die in cold? And then
I'm not referring to how long to die in cold. I'm actually referring to 12:24 to 12:45. So this would be the time frame in which I personally believe John O'Keefe was dropped off at 12:24, and 12:31 was his last few steps wherever he was at.
Right.
That's
and
what
you think he got beat up and bit by a dog, beat up. They threw his phone out onto the ground. They threw his glass from the bar out on the ground, brought him in, beat him up, and then threw him back out there, all within that time frame.
Bear in mind, this is 2:24 to 2:31. This is very possible, and it is very possible. The reason why I really do believe this, outside the Apple Health data, is even within those times, you have Karen Nagel, right? Is her name Catherine Nagel? I don't know. Julie Nagel, my bad. Oh wow. Catherine Nagel is an actress. What am I doing?
There's too many names.
You have Julie Nagel that saw the SUV leave, and she didn't have the same vantage point as Karen Reed. Sorry, not Karen Reed, Jen McCabe. So if you saw that vehicle leave,
Ryan Nagel did,
then how are you in this conspiracy? Because for me, it would make more sense that they're all in one room, because it's a massive house. It looks like the living room is the one that would face the window. So of course she would have that vantage point to see the vehicle leave. But when you bring it all together,
but she was also saying that she was watching the vehicle out there at like 12:45 when she was calling, when Karen's already back at John's house.
Yeah, I don't take any of their times. I don't take any of their times seriously, and this is why. If you ask me what time I ate dinner last night, to the minute, I'll be like, I don't know, 5:30. So these people are drunk. It's, the next day their friend dies. I am sure that a lot of their timing is off. Even most of them. I mean, I doubt any of them got it correct, unless they were specifically looking at their watch or whatever the case may be. I don't know that any of them got every single moment correct.
Well, the one thing that I do find to be just a little bit suspicious is the fact that like Jen McCabe had specifically said that she was making these phone calls and these texts to John, and that she was going and looking out the window and the car was there and she was calling. And the timestamps are right there, but the timestamps are inconsistent with the car even being there at that point.
Right.
Like Karen's already at John's house at that point.
Right.
So if she has this clear memory of calling and looking at the car, it just doesn't add up at all.
Well,
So,
and look at the car at different times. That's the thing. They don't line up, you know, and I'm not giving it to either side. They just don't really line up.
No, look, I'm with you. And and when that happens, I do tend to show a bit of grace because it's memory and it's faulty. It's just faulty. So for Jen McCabe, I personally think that if I was to give her the maximum benefit of doubt, she must have just saw her leave and just felt
I don't know. All right. It's hard
and just felt that it was around 12:40 or 12:35 because she was messaging John at 12:31 around that time, 12:30 around that time, even called him before and got through. She was messaging him saying, hello, where are you? So it would make sense that you would now bring in this memory. This is if she had nothing to do with it, you would now bring in this memory that you saw way later to associate with this and be like, wait a minute, oh my God, yeah, she did it because, oh my, I'm trying to say it would make sense how they will match, but at the same time, the reason,
what do you think Karen hit that night?
Karen didn't hit anything. I was literally about to say this because I don't think Karen hit anything.
Perhaps you break her tail light.
Okay.
I think she cracked it on his car.
Oh yeah, no, that one didn't even register as an event, guys. And she told him it was cracked before she left, and that happened.
Correct.
So
okay.
That's a tough one.
Okay. First and foremost, let me just read this chat. Because I do have a question to ask you, just right, to ask Alyssa and yourself. But thank you so much for this comment.
Guys, I gotta get off at 10 because I gotta go to softball after.
No worries. Let me literally just speed this up as quick as I can. Solodov says Ryan Nagel was parked behind Karen when he was waiting on picking up his sister. Did his car get damaged or did he see John O'Keefe? Who is Ryan? Well, Ryan Nagel would be Julie Nagel's
brother. Yep.
Brother. So
brother,
what is Solodov referring to here? Because I did not actually know this information about Ryan Nagel.
So he came to pick up Julie and he was parked right behind Karen. And he said there was only one person in the car. There wasn't a body in the lawn. So first off, it really kind of messes with this whole randomly now there's Brian Higgins' Jeep, which would have been right in that same spot. But then it's also like, if there's no body there, if he's not in the car, where is he?
Well, maybe it was Julie, saw the blob when she was leaving, and she never really made a big deal about it.
Oh yeah, I remember.
He was in a dark part of that yard too.
I remember that testimony.
Remember that?
3.5. Houston says, "Ask True Crime Lady. She really believes Jen's butt is capable of making those butt calls." I'll be very honest. When it came to, I'll be very honest. It's only Brian Higgins and Jen McCabe butt dials that I was suspicious of. Brian Alberts, I was like, okay, all right.
I just think, I butt dial people all the time. So to me, it's not, that doesn't prove that you're covering up a murder. If you talked on the phone, maybe, and you were like, listen, this is our plan. Maybe.
But they said they didn't answer it and there was no voicemails left. So that's happened to me all the time. Like we get voicemails from my father-in-law constantly.
Yes.
Or we got butt dialed but FaceTimed actually by
Yeah.
my mother-in-law last night.
This is more
Like,
common, actually.
she was on the, she called, hung up, and then FaceTimed right after, and it was like in her pocket.
Yeah, I think that does happen.
That does happen, but it's the fact that there wasn't a voicemail or anything on John's phone from Jen with all these butt dials. It hung up and it happened again.
I'm definitely saying there are weird things in this case, but you can't ignore all the physical evidence. Like, it's just, butt dials are weird. The timing can definitely be off. But how do you guys think the taillight got on John's clothing?
I mean, there was absolutely no chain of custody or like whatsoever. They sat in a room for like a week before being.
They were drying. They had to dry in that room. But you think so? You basically think that Proctor put the taillight on the clothing?
Well, it wasn't really found by the first team at 5 o'clock, was it? Like, so
on his clothing?
That's a lot of
clothing. Actually, the taillight was being found while Proctor was at the Sallyport. So Proctor had her car at the Sallyport, and the CERT team was finding.
But what time though?
Pieces of the taillight.
But but where I'm coming from is the first team that was sweeping the area did not find those.
Yeah, they were in a different spot though. The CERT team did a different area, and that's where they found all the pieces. So I think the first 5 o'clock team was in one spot thinking it was there, and then when the CERT team got there, the area that they were in was like very small. They were like tight next to each other, and they found everything in this one spot. And one of it was at the bottom of the snow pile. That big piece was at the bottom of the snow pile. And this is before Proctor ever got in touch with that car, guys. Proctor didn't have the car until he was at the Sallyport.
But the car was at the Sallyport before they started their search.
It was like 3 minutes. 5:41 was when they started. Proctor was at the Sallyport like 5:46. No, at 5:46, they found the first piece at the bottom of a snow pile, and Proctor was still at the Sallyport.
Okay, so the common defense, common defense that I hear from people from pro Commonwealth, people that believe Karen is guilty, is the defense that, well, oh flip, I just forgot. No, what's the defense? I had it in my head. What's the defense? Oh, Karen knew exactly where the body was at 5:38. Right. So, which I personally find absurd, but now that this whole taillight pieces has come up, I guess I gotta now bring it up. Like, do you think that Proctor knew exactly where the taillight pieces was and just knew where to go get them, or do you just think that it's just an unfortunate circumstance that he was the first one? He was the one that was there to find it.
No, he didn't find the first one.
No, the CERT team found them while he was at the Sallyport.
Okay. So wait. I'm thrown off. I thought the first team did not find anything, the taillight pieces.
Yeah, the Canton PD, nobody found anything. Then the Massachusetts State Police took over. So that's why then the
they found something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay. In that case, disregard my question. Let me quickly go because we only have you for like 8 more minutes. 7 more minutes, and we're now going into the hour mark. So jurors did come forward to actually discuss what was in the.
Well, the defense.
They came forward to discuss. Sorry, go on.
The defense is saying they came forward. We haven't heard from any of the jurors yet.
Well, definitely the defense would not really.
Well, Lally came out and said none of this has happened yet, and that they haven't heard from the jurors, but we'll see.
Well, the jurors. No. What I'm trying to say, what I was going to say was the jurors can contact who they want, but the prosecution and the defense cannot contact the jurors. So if the jurors did choose to just reach out to Alan Jackson, and we obviously have what we have now, then in my opinion, Lally is just misleading he's just misleading everyone by saying, well, they didn't come forward to me, so I don't know anything about it.
Well, he's just saying they could say, well, even if they did come forward, they already reached their verdict, so it doesn't matter what they say. Unless they reached, it's irrelevant at this point. But It's fine. But it still shows that 9 out of the 12 jurors think that she hit him.
No,
Manslaughter.
I actually, it's what they were actually saying is that for count 1 and 3, that they didn't think that she was in like they were like
Right,
unanimous
but
on
count
those
2 they
counts of
did.
not guilty. Yeah, but count 2 is a lesser vehicular
Yeah, but
manslaughter.
it's still bad. It still means that they think she hit him with the car.
No,
Manslaughter
count 2
means
basically
with the car.
translates to count 2 basically translates to, let's say that I was walking down the street, right? Sorry, not walking down the street. That's a bad example. Let's say that I am driving in a car and I see someone dying at that moment, right? And I saw that.
Mhm.
However, I didn't call for help. I didn't do anything like that. I just drove away. That's what I think count 2 is.
I think that's
Because
count 3.
no, count 3 is just DUI, I believe. Count 3 is
No,
just
leaving
driving
the
under
scene
the.
of the crime is count 3.
Um, Alyssa, I think you're mute.
I am. Yep. I must have hit it by
I saw your
accident.
mouth move and nothing coming out. I was like, okay, that's that's a bit weird.
Yep. That button's in the worst
So,
spot.
so what were you saying?
No, so count 3 is the leaving the scene of an
Right.
accident that caused death. So
Okay.
I mean, I think we don't really know necessarily what they were thinking. And the one thing with count 2 is that it does have the lesser included. So we don't know if it was one of those ones that they were, kind
It's
of split
still
on, or
manslaughter, though,
thinking
so they must
it's
think
still
she did not-
manslaughter.
Yeah.
But they think something. But
think she hit him,
that's
but they
one thing that
think
we don't ever, we probably won't, we can't ever know unless they come forward themselves and talk about it. Because I don't think that there's any way in hell that they're going to let anyone like in court talk about what their deliberations were, other than just like, were you unanimous on 1 and 3, and that's going to be it.
But then she'd still go to jail for at least 20 years for 2. So I think, I think the news and, all the people that are pro Karen just ignore the fact that they still believe that she hit him. So they're saying she hit him, but she didn't mean to hit him. So I don't know, but I got to run, guys. Let's do this again, because you guys.
Yes, we have to. Thank you so much for thanks so much for joining.
Sure. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, have a great day. Thank you so much for joining. Right. So, right. So now we are I need to get that verdict form again. Let me try and get it out. 1 second. But yeah, guys, while I am doing that, make sure that you hit the like button. And also hit that subscribe button as well. I was going to what I was going to say to Karen before she ended up leaving was in regards to the juror, because once I get the verdict form, I will definitely understand. Okay, so this is the verdict slip. This will be count 2, isn't it? So
yeah.
Sorry, this
and
is
that's the one
sorry,
before they made the change.
But
the only thing that they changed on it is the not guilty of.
So right, okay, I see. I see where I made the error, because I personally thought that the DUI was in manslaughter. Was in count 2 basically.
Right.
Yeah, but
which I've gone back through and I've listened to a lot of the like how, especially count 2, when they were reading the jury instructions, and it focuses so heavily on the DUI part of it, or the OWI, which basically the same thing. But I wonder if that's where some of the confusion is, or not the confusion, where some of the split was, of like trying to figure all that out. I think it is telling that they, if this is accurate, like what these jurors have come forward and said, that they didn't find the intent or anything. But the count 2 was the one that was confusing. That's what they brought up during deliberations, as like this was a really confusing the way that the verdict slips were. They changed it, but I don't know if it necessarily cleared it up. And then Judge Bev gave that very long kind of explanation for the charge as well. I don't know if that confused them more. I don't, and we won't know unless they come forward and say that, but it is
Right.
very interesting.
Right. I'll just read a couple of chats out.
Because there is a lot.
So yeah, there's quite a bit. Bev's, we only have half an hour left of this show, by the way. So we will be talking a little bit about Alec Baldwin as a bonus, and also as a sorry, yeah, as a bonus. I just want to talk about
That was so crazy.
the different type of mistrial. This one didn't even head to the jury at all, so we're going to be talking about that one as well. But Bev's crying now. I love that name. To be honest. I'm pro. I think she meant Karen, but it's Jaren. It's all BS. It is all BS in my opinion. Count 2 was 6-6 after charge 4-8. So they were deadlocked at 6-6, but yeah.
Right. I think that's what one of the jurors who was kind of like through the intermediary had said, that it was at 6-6 and then shifted.
Let me just read out a couple more chats here. Beth's crying.
Yeah,
now. The defense wouldn't like sign a motion to put their job on the line. They're not Lally. I'm told that. Lally is gonna forever catch strays all through this trial. I actually don't know who is worse. Let me actually ask the question. I don't know why. Okay, who is the the question I'm going to ask from now until can I? Oh damn! I can't even do polls. Is that like no way? Is that like for people that are monetized?
I don't know.
This is discrimination.
All right, we got to get it up more then.
This is
just so we can do polls.
Oh no!
Let's
Hey
go,
guys, this is the incentive. I wanna do Q&As. I wanna do polls, but YouTube is trifling. So get like this video, subscribe, and also watch the previous ones. Get us over the line so that we can finally do polls. Oh, okay. So let me read a couple more chats out. So for the kids, and Antiquated Rogue says she thought the kids were in the way. Look what she told Higgins. We both don't have kids. I believe I believe Antiquated Rogue believe that Karen is guilty. I will say this. I really do like this chat. I love this chat because you guys have been very, very civil. You guys have been in my opinion, did not. What word am I looking for? There was no name calling, so I like that. I like that. Each of Mimi says the Tucan lady is awful.
People can disagree with that name calling.
It's nice. Of course.
Who would have thought?
This Shrimp Crime Lady is awful. Did she even watch the trial? I don't think I think she's the nicest. Nicest person. Like in all fairness, I think that she did have quite a bit of merits. To some of our points. Maybe is that due to my lack of background knowledge in this case? Probably. I don't know much of the background. I am diving into it now because I am doing a video on my main channel, Dr. Himes, to go into what she framed or what she guilty of it. Like, just to like put together all the data. Right. So I will be diving into the background information. So I kind of had to, finesse them, play around them, be like, oh, I don't want to reveal to people that I don't have background information. But now now I'm learning the information that I didn't get to learn.
There's so much.
I feel like there is a lot of information in the background of this case. I really wanted to go into this case as a proper juror, hence the name of the channel. It's just how I like to look at cases. I don't necessarily, except for one case that I am covering on this channel is the Courtney Clinic case, and I do know the background of that one. So, and so it's so I'm gonna do my best to like be a proper juror there. But on this one, I'm glad that I wasn't. I didn't know anything. I'm glad I just came in fresh and I saw the information for what it was. There is no way. I'm sorry. Everyone can have their opinions, but I don't believe you can get hit. And I come from a family like where where both my parents are in medicine. It doesn't mean anything. It probably doesn't mean anything, but I picked up a couple of things. No one is getting hit hit from here,
No.
and there's no contusion, there's no nothing, there's no damage to the abdomen, nothing
No.
whatsoever. It's intact. That is just impossible, guys. I've played sports. My ankle has been hit so many times. It doesn't just shoot up to my head, and
Right.
that ankle injury now becomes a head injury. That just doesn't happen. Like there will be a reflection on where I got hit, which in this example would be the ankle. So I'm
Right.
sorry. I just
Well, and
for
then if
me
they
that
were
was
trying to
done.
say like, oh, his arm or something, and it was hitting the arm, but if it was that fast, that amount of force, for it to not like at the very least be fractured, if not like honestly would just be like a full break. I don't know how that's possible.
Mm,
So
yeah. Also, guys. Yeah. I really do believe bringing the manslaughter charge has pretty much saved this case for the Commonwealth. Honestly, like because if
right.
that's what they were deadlocked under, master stroke of a move. Like that wasn't there before. By the way, manslaughter was not a charge that was it was added, I believe, halfway through the
Well, it was
trial
the
by the
murder
time.
too. It was the murder because originally it was just manslaughter. Um, when
I
they
thought
first
they,
charged her, and then it was like in June. Well, because murder two is a higher charge.
yeah, but I
So
thought the murder was what they were leading with, and then they came into trial and they just threw it in there.
no,
The
so
manslaughter
the
in there.
manslaughter was the first charge, and
Okay.
then after they went to a grand jury, I think it was June,
Okay.
if I remember. That's when they upped it to murder,
Oh, okay.
which now just like I always thought that was very odd to me because for it to be different
Oh, so
between
manslaughter was
manslaughter and
always
murder
there.
is intent, and there's no like I don't really it never was clear to me what the intent was.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't know why they upcharged it, and clearly the jury didn't think it was, you know, a good
Yeah.
charge
Yeah.
anyway.
Like the only thing I can probably guess is just for them to just cover all bases. Like if you don't think that she did it intentionally, like because that's what murder is. But I don't know
Right.
why. I don't know why they led with the murder charge because even listening to the
They never
case
should have.
from the opening statements, it didn't sound like this was someone that is like a even in the case of Courtney Clenny, just to compare a little bit, like because that's a second
Right.
degree murder charge. That one actually does fare out as a second degree murder. Like she actually
Right.
did kill the guy, but
Mm-hmm.
you
Like
don't
she wasn't
have that
planning
concrete.
to, but in that fight, yeah, that's
Yeah,
because that's what's going
like
to differentiate from murder one and murder two.
right. So like at that point, you'll be wondering, well, why didn't you just bring in the manslaughter alone?
Right. Which I
But
think they would have been better off doing.
yeah, which I mean, obviously, it still ended in a mistrial, so it probably would have been the same outcome. probably would have been, it probably
True.
would have been the same outcome, but
True.
at least they would have had a better chance. In my opinion, I don't, I, I, I feel sorry for the prosecution because the truth of the matter is, it is not really the Commonwealth's fault. Any of this, I do personally. If you, I always say this: if you really believe that Karen Reed is guilty, you'll be pissed off at the investigators. I don't think they
Right.
did a
Right.
great job gathering the evidence for the Commonwealth to even put on a case. Even if Lally was the best, prosecutor there was in the flipping entire planet, there is no way he could have worked with what he had to work with. And
Well,
I
no,
don't think he's
it's
competent.
garbage in, garbage out. Like it's you have bad facts. But I will push back on that a little bit because I do blame the Commonwealth and the prosecution because they like we literally just saw the other day with Baldwin.
Mm,
When you have a bad case, or I mean, they had the Brady violation. That one, the other special prosecutor was like, nope, I'm not going forward with this. We need to drop these charges. When Morrissey wouldn't go along with that, she walked. And like that would be, like that was really like the right thing to do, the ethical thing to
right.
do. But the Commonwealth is here going forward with all of this. Like, they have bad facts in this case. They have a lot of just crap evidence.
Mhm.
There's no chain of custody in anything. That really just baffles me.
True crime and some
But
wine.
they're
Thank you
still
so much
going
for this
on with
comment.
it.
Sorry, sorry about that. I read a bit too early, so sorry for interrupting you. Yeah, True Crime and some wine says, Rogue, thanks for the backup. I didn't know both of them were pro Karen, but I'm glad I got the truth out. And a lot of his commenters here don't seem to know the info I shared. And
Hmm.
like, I'm glad you got the, I think like I'm glad you got a couple of information out, a couple of info out. Um, yeah, like we all have blind spots, is what I would say. Like what I consider to be an irrelevant information could be
More
completely
important,
game
right?
changer for someone else. So this is why I kind of like having a diverse panel of having different opinions, because that is where, in my opinion, there's a lot of innovation that happens in that discourse. There's a lot of growth, can I call it? I don't know what word to use,
Yeah,
that is,
I think
but
so.
a lot of good things happen from having these conversations than just trying to shut down anyone that doesn't agree with just your point of view. I would let her speak
That's just
all
an
day
echo
long
chamber at
and
that
not
point.
interrupt her. Yeah. Uh-uh.
It's an echo chamber at that point.
Right.
Who wants
and
that?
again and again, like I said, I'm probably very blinkered, but the fact my head was turned off, I said it already, and I'll say it again, my everything was turned off, my brain, ears, everything was shut off the minute I heard from the medical examiner that there was no injuries from the neck down. I was like, nope, I'm done.
Hmm.
Nope. Change the mechanism. If I was the prosecution, I would have tried to, at least, this is what I was trying to say earlier in regards to reconfiguring. I would have tried to change the mechanism before we even head to the grand jury. Like, try and change it so that it is just the head that you can explain. Because if I'm looking at that, I'm not gonna go with the car anymore. I'm just not. It's going
Right.
to be a very difficult sell. I would have probably gone for he dropped a I probably would have
A
gone
slip and
for.
fall could have been consistent. I mean, but that's the thing is like if this is what their evidence is leading up to, that there was a car involved, you can't just change it. I mean, like make stuff up. But I don't feel like was very very strong that was the case
Mm,
anyway. So
yeah, so like yeah, I mean, again, it's just what they were presented with. If they were presented with a theory from the investigators that it was a car that hit them, what can you
right,
do? What can you actually do? So it's not like I feel entirely bad for the defense, but if they went, I feel like if the investigators tried to say that Karen, I don't know, somehow hit him in the back of the head when the opportunity was there. It's nighttime. No many people can see. Everyone already only saw the car anyway, so they didn't see John. So really and
right.
truly, it's a great opportunity to do it. Obviously, Karen, uh, sorry, not Karen. Obviously, Julie Nagel's brother puts that theory to bed because he was
Ryan.
there. So, but the point is, there is so much more avenues to go, and that's why for me, like, I'm very, very
But that's
cut and
reasonable
dry
doubt
with.
right there. And
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's my main thing is like regardless of what actually happened, the evidence is kind of all over the place, and that's reasonable doubt. I come into like all this, even if I have an opinion one way or the other about the defendant, like everyone is presumed innocent until they're proven to be guilty. So if there's doubt, then that's that right there.
right.
You know.
And also just go back to your point in regards to Morrissey and that mistrial in that case, because
Yeah,
I I
that was
honestly,
wild.
again, it's kind of the same thing here. It's kind of the same thinking, because I didn't believe Baldwin did it. Well, I mean, obviously
I
he
mean, he
did
did
kill
it,
her. Yeah,
but
he did it. But because of the context, sorry, but because of the context, well, this is what I'm trying to say. But because of the fact that they were on this set, I I've always believed that, again, cut and dry again. You're on set. Everyone has responsibilities, and
right.
the responsibilities of checking uh evaluating, doing all that quality check stuff, all that never falls to
Mhm.
the actors. It falls to the crew always.
Right.
I came in that with that was my mindset. So I was like, this is easy for him. If he doesn't get off, I will have to ask questions because what are we trying to do then when we have a safety engineer? Like, are you now
Right.
going to, like, the responsibility should fall on the safety engineer to ensure that the company is safe? Are you now going to look at each and every employee
Right.
for for an accident that happens with that essentially an engineer could have been liable for? You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah. No, exactly.
yeah,
See, but I
things like
also
that.
like, you know, at the same, I feel like I was kind of, either way, could
Mm,
have made a case for it because, like, yeah, you're the one at the very least. 'Cause it was in the Gutierrez retrial, the armorers, where they said,
mm,
no, like you're supposed to like show the actor like that they're blanks and everything, and that didn't happen. Okay, I could see that being the case, but and I don't really like Alec Baldwin. I won't lie. I wouldn't have been sad if he was convicted.
I don't really
But
care. I
when
don't
you
know the
have
guy.
something like so egregious, like these Brady
Mm,
violations, yeah, this
yeah,
is exactly what had needed to happen. That case
right.
had to go. It doesn't really matter.
Right, and that break. Oh gosh, yeah, because
It's
uh,
bad.
end of the day, prosecution does not play the jury. They can't decide. Oh well, this is not relevant, so I'm not
Right.
gonna tell. No, 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 no. This is where, and
Yeah, you don't get to make that
like
choice.
I was I was in a stream with Lord Chief Sean yesterday, and we were
Mhm.
just talking about this, and he mentioned, I didn't know this. I had a feeling that this is like a first in a lifetime kind of thing because you just don't hear it. So I was shocked initially, but when he said that a lot of these things do happen, but a lot of judges
I do.
take the route of, okay, we just add in a jury instruction. Okay, we'll just
Right.
dismiss the evidence and not even use it at all, or we'll just sanction, I don't know, some, but it doesn't result in a mistrial. So for
They
him
did
to
it in
say
this
that this,
case. In Karen
yeah,
Reed's case, I mean, they literally put in that Sallyport video in the middle of trial. Like that was like a discovery thing that they literally entered in within it was like 3 weeks into the trial. And a lot of like the discovery was very delayed. The
yeah,
DNA stuff with the dog DNA, I think oh no, it wasn't the dog DNA. It was the hair DNA. They didn't
yeah,
even
but
get back until they were in jury selection.
yeah, but
So
yeah, but
all of that was
imagine,
very late,
yeah,
but
but imagine the scenario.
nothing happened.
The library video in the current retrial. The
Right.
library
Yeah,
video,
yeah.
right? Imagine a scenario that the prosecution did have that video and
Mhm.
they just sat on it,
Right.
like a mistrial in the current retrial would have been, in my opinion, the most beneficial one because
Right.
if that
Well, because
came
that would
out,
have been with
so
prejudice, so they couldn't bring it back
right.
at that point. It would have just
So
been a dismissal.
it's why I completely understand this dish. I don't care if someone thinks it's small or if someone thinks like evidence is material, evidence is evidence. Like you
Right.
need to. It's a great message, and like I was saying in regards to speaking about it with Lord Sean and other guests yesterday.
Mhm.
He was basically saying that what this judge did was, you know, it was great that she made this case. Well, he didn't say example, but I'm paraphrasing here. That because he now has become an example that prosecutors should actually step up.
Right.
I don't know why.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Prosecutors
like
and
because
judges should step up.
yeah, because I've seen some really shoddy prosecutions in the last 2 years,
Mhm.
and I'm surprised. I'm really surprised, like because we had one. If I remember, yeah, like Zachariah Anderson, I saw that,
Oh,
and that was,
yes. Oof.
and also
Yeah.
you also
It's
have
just wild.
the, like, uh, you see their practices, and you're like, how many more of these cases
Yeah.
actually happen? How
Right.
many more is actually like this? But
Like these are just the ones that we're
it's
seeing.
right, right. So, but yeah, in regards to the Baldwin trial, like, I just, you have to be coping if you really believe that that this guy is not innocent of this, because end of the day, if he was innocent, 100%
Right.
prosecution would be handing over everything. It's like, hey, no, we got him, so take
Mm-hmm.
it all. We don't have to hide anything. He done it.
Right. There was
We
shady
know he did.
business
Which,
about, and they
right,
wanted to get him so bad. Like you could tell.
right. So, hopefully this decision, in my opinion, hopefully that
Hmm.
it does one thing, which is basically just put prosecutions back in their place again, and just be like, yo, do your
Right.
jobs. Like I know you want to get your bonuses, and I don't know how it works, to be honest. I actually don't know, but I know that you want to get all of those things, but
Right.
like,
Well, they like their conviction
get
rates
back to
up,
the rules. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I just want to say,
which
everyone,
is,
go.
how about,
So, sorry, go on.
I was just saying that's how like corners get cut. And, you know, maybe that's how this whole dumpster fire case ended up happening, you know?
All right. Also, guys, I just want to say, make sure that you hit that like button, and also hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It really help us out with the YouTube algorithm. We are so close to being monetized. So yeah, definitely watch these videos. Get everyone to watch these videos. You don't have to watch it. I mean, they are entertaining. I'm
In
just
the
want to say that
background.
they are entertaining, but you can just put it on mute and put it in the background and just let it run to 5,000 hours. I want to I want to meet that target. So, but yeah,
Just watch
but
the
yeah,
rage quit over and over again.
yeah. I just want to say that Alyssa and I will be back later on today at half eight.
Yeah.
Sorry, not half eight. Damn it! Not UK time. I keep thinking UK time. Right. Let me flip it. Eastern time. Half one Eastern time. Half one Eastern time. We'll be back here, and we'll be talking about Laura Owens
Yeah.
and Clayton Achard. For those that don't know, Laura Owens has faked paternity tests, and has also made false claims of abuse, uh, as well as essay and all of that, not only to Clayton, but three other men. And we're going to be going through all of the details of
Oh, yeah.
that particular case that is now being recommended for a trial. New motions have been drawn up by Laura Owens. We're going to be going through that, joined by many from Justice for Clayton, such as Hey Bales. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show. I
Ooh.
cannot wait to discuss that. Um, I have no. I can't believe this trial is over. I don't know what's next, because Karen Reed, obviously, I want to go back to Karen Reed for a second, because the brother did come out to give the interview. Did you watch the interview?
I did.
What
Yes.
did you think of it?
I I don't know. I feel conflicted about it. I won't lie.
What
I
was
mean,
the
I
point of
feel
that
like he's
suspense? You put
very.
us all in suspense, and then you're like,
I know. I feel for him. I really do. He obviously really truly believes that Karen did this. I think I really could understand some parts of where he was coming from, but then there were other where like he was talking about like, oh, poor Proctor, his text messages like shouldn't have been used against him. Like that, I feel like the text messages are kind of objectively a problem. So I don't it was weird that he was kind of defending that. But again, like he's lost so much. Both of his siblings. I can see how he
I would
really
scramble too,
wants
of your
to hang
course.
on to that. Like
I would
I
scramble
can see why
too.
he wants to hang on to
Yeah.
what they have, believed this whole time. So
Mm, right.
conflicted is how
Yeah, like, yeah, I saw the interview. I thought, I don't know what will bring anyone closure in cases like this. I've never been, I
right.
feel a lot of sympathy for him. I actually do. I don't believe obviously he doesn't believe there is a cover up. But did you see the interview with the friend and Mike? I think Microdots is the channel that
Mhm.
the friend of John O'Keefe that came forward. You saw that, right?
Yes, yeah, I did.
What did you make of that one?
You know, I found it very compelling for sure.
In what way?
Because you don't hear
What
a
stuck out to
lot
you?
of like, you don't really. It's been interesting that there hasn't been much of a. I always thought it was in general kind of strange that like even the Boston police there
Mhm,
hasn't been a whole bunch of them, like even at the pretrial stuff. We weren't really hearing from friends on either side. So
mhm.
it's just interesting having both kind of narratives out there now.
Okay. Yeah. I also yeah. So all those two interviews, we're not gonna go into it. We might go into another time.
Right.
Yeah, but we're not gonna go into it on today's stream. But I will link it below, so that anyone that wants to watch it can go and watch it. But I am gonna bring the stream to a close here. We'll just leave it there because I truly do appreciate everyone that tuned in. Rexos go. I actually support Chicago White Sox. So, but
Mm.
Rexos Girl says also the
We're a
state
Yankees
prosecutors
house.
on the
So
case
don't get
resigned in
mad
the
at me, Red
middle.
Sox
Huh?
girl. So we're a Yankees house here. So don't get
Oh,
mad at me, Red Sox girl.
yeah, I do know about that. I do know about that rivalry. So I do know about that rivalry. But he says
Oh
also
yeah.
the state prosecutors on the case resign in the middle. Of course, yep. But yeah, I appreciate every single one of you that that have been communicating with us and rocking with us on this stream. We'll be like I said, we'll be back literally in a couple of hours, like I think 4 hours from now or something like that. No, sorry, not even 4, 3 hours from now. So we'll be talking about the Clayton Ishard and Laura Owens developments, and yeah, I really do hope to see all of you guys there. Thank you so much, Chris Mock, who has been discussing, using the chat, and everyone that has been using the chat. Solar Dove, Antiquated Grog, Red Sox Girl. If I have missed out anybody, I do apologize. But yeah, like I appreciate every single one of you, and I appreciate my guest, especially True Crime on Some Wine. I would have loved, yeah, I really appreciate her opinions. They were really a lot more constructive than the opinions that I've heard from critical K. I don't like that girl. I just don't like her anymore. I just don't like that.
You just got content
I
at
just
least.
don't like her at all. If she's watching any of my streams, I think
She
yeah,
probably
we can
is.
talk it out, but I just don't like you, fam. I just don't like you. But yeah, like on also Alyssa, like I always say that get your own channel. Like I know you're very busy in
I
life and all
will.
that, but your opinions, like I will always have you here, regardless, every
Fair.
single time that you're available, because
Yes.
your opinions are really, really in my opinions, in my opinion, really valuable, and I my speed of thought goes like knots hours. So I'm trying to like
Mhm.
slow everything down. But honestly, like get your channel, please. If you get more time.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely keep talking about all of the crime stories that you talk about because a lot of stories that I find are from her. Like, believe it or not, like she's on it. She
Right.
knows so much, and I
What I
think
do.
yeah, like I think you'll be a real asset if you do like decide to start reporting on some of these things, and start discussing some of these cases. I think you'll be a real asset to anyone that they can I call it true crime community? I don't know what to call it, but
Yeah.
your people that like
Right.
cases like this. I think I think you'll be good. Anyway, I'll just leave it there. I appreciate Solo Dove. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Mhm.
Thanks everyone for tuning in as well. Take care of yourself. Have a great day. I need to get an outro done, but we're learning.
Right.
We're learning.
We'll get one.
Joan Bienvenue, thank you so much for joining. Your name is amazing, by the way. That is a proper proper French name. I can't believe I didn't highlight that earlier. I had to just shout you out for that French great name, Johan. But yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. Even those that didn't use the chat and were just lurking. Yo. As long as you're here enjoying the show, I appreciate that. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.